Previously on Storylines, the Negro Leagues. When I met Buck in 1993, one of the first questions that I posed to him was, what motivated you to want to build a Negro Leagues baseball museum? And his answer was succinct, but very poignant, so that baseball's unsung heroes will never be forgotten. Without question, Satchel Paige was the Negro League's biggest and brightest star. A lot of people don't know that Jackie Robinson's illustrious professional baseball career began in Kansas City in 1945 with the Kansas City Monarchs. The beauty of the Negro Leagues is that they didn't care what color you were, and they didn't care what gender you were. The legendary Josh Gibson would have hit home runs in any league, in any era, had he been given the opportunity to do so. What we are doing is fueling dreams. We're fueling the possibilities that come from this incredible story of amazing athletes who overcame the obstacles that were in front of them to go after their dreams. And the Negro Leagues gave them a platform to do just that. They say every star tells a story. And isn't it fitting that one story of triumph over adversity was founded in the winter and celebrated in the summer, under bright lights with stars in the sky. A story of monarchs and grays, clowns and Crawfords, eagles and giants, and of course, stars, who defined what for the love of the game really meant. And on those fields, under those lights, legends came to play, where their passion never died, where their stars would always shine. These are the legends. These are their stories. This is the Negro Leagues.
Tell me I was born to lose, but I made a good thing out of that.
When I say the name James Thomas Bell, most people have no idea who you're talking about. But when you say Cool Papa, everybody knows.
I'm taking care of business. I got so many things to do. Whoa.
I believe that it is the greatest nickname in baseball history. He is still believed to be the fastest man to ever play this game. How fast was Cool Papa Bell? I guess you could say faster than a light switch. The legendary Satchel Paige would say of his friend that he was so fast that he could walk in a room, turn off the lights, get in bed, pull up the covers before the room went dark. They clocked him circling the bases in an amazing 12 seconds. He twice, honest to God's truth, twice scored from first base on a bunt in exhibition games against Major League All-Stars. He once stole 175 bases in a less than 200-game season. The legendary Jesse Owens, who at that time was the fastest man in the world, would never race Cool Papa Bell. He would have made Jesse Owens look like he was standing still.
Did you ever race him, like, before a game in front of crowds and stuff?
We had a doubleheader in Cleveland, Ohio, and he was in the stand. He see me running the bases around, and he said, I left my track shoes home, so I can't. I didn't have any track shoes.
I got work. I got work.
Okay, all set to go. Now here is Cool Papa Bell. Oh, this one high and deep, way back there. Cool Papa Bell goes deep for the Stars to lead off the ball game. Now here is Taylor. Line drive, and Bell kicks it into high gear, and it looks like trouble. Around third, relay throw, and he's out. Here's the second baseman, Taylor. And a pitch. Line drive, and Bell kicks it into high gear. Could be extra bases. Rounds third, headed for the plate. The relay throw. Safe, he scores. Nobody runs like Cool Papa Bell.
Give it a full shot.
Cool Papa Bell comes to the Negro Leagues as a pitcher. Had a full repertoire of pitches. Really good fastball, great breaking ball, screwball, knuckleball. He earned the nickname Cool Papa while facing the legendary Oscar Charleston in a crucial situation in a game, and he struck him out.
You're out. I thought Oscar Charleston in Benfield. Wait a minute, something in my eye. Yeah, that's a curveball in the eye. That's what's in the eye.
And that led the St. Louis Stars manager to say, that guy is cool. And then he added Papa, and the name stuck. But Cool hurt his arm. And it was almost a twist of fate, you might say, that after he hurt his arm pitching, they moved him to the outfield. And the legend of Cool Papa Bell was really born.
Oscar Charleston stepping in now. Swing and a miss. 0-1.
The story about Cool Papa Bell striking out Oscar Charleston is even more amazing when you realize it was actually in Bell's professional debut. He struck out Charleston and Ben Taylor back-to-back. Quite a way to start your career.
That one missed. Singy Bell had such a good knuckleball, it would cross up his brother Robert, who caught him when he was young. Robert told James only to throw it when they absolutely needed to get a strikeout because Robert kept hurting his fingers trying to catch it.
Cool Papa Bell is in left field there on our Field of Legends at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum because of another special ball player that's in center field. But Cool Papa Bell is one of the greatest center fielders this game has ever seen. Quick release that made up for the injured arm and blazing speed. He played a shallow outfield, so it was hard to bloop it in front of him. And you had to hit it on a rope to get it over his head because he could get on his horse with the best of them. And Cool would use that blazing speed and ran himself into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1974.
Turkey Stearns stepping to the plate now. That smash towards center. And this one is over. What a play to end the game.
Cool Papa Bell was one of the great leadoff hitters of all time. He became a great switch hitter and then started primarily hitting from his left-hand side. So he's getting a running start from the get-go. Once while playing in Cuba, he hit 3 home runs. And you'll say, well, okay, there's a lot of guys who've hit 3 home runs, but there are not a lot of guys who hit 3 inside the park home runs in one game. Cool Papa Bell, while playing in Mexico, goes from first to third so fast on a single that the Mexican team stopped the game in protest because they swore he had cut across the diamond. There was no way in the world any man could get around the bases that fast. That's the speed of Cool Papa Bell.
Were you always fast? Oh, yeah, I was fast when I was a little kid. It was just something born in me.
At the plate, Cool Papa Bell. In the air, right field. Bradley sizing this one up and makes the grab. And there's one down. Back to the top of the lineup. Cool Papa Bell digging in now. In the air, out towards right center. Newman on his way over. Nice grab on the run. One away.
With a lot of Negro League stars, you wonder what they could have done if baseball was integrated at the time. Cool Papa Bell hit almost 400 in interracial games over the course of his career. It didn't matter who he was playing, he always excelled.
And he swings through that one. You brought up Bell's success in games against white players, Singy. Hall of Fame third baseman Pie Traynor said he could have made Here's the center fielder, Cool Papa Bell. Puts a bunt down. Burns takes it himself. One up, one down. And now the center fielder, Cool Papa Bell. Drake back to work. To the right side, and it stays fair. Around first, heading for 2. And it's a double. Their first hit in this one. Now a screamer into the outfield. Sanders springs it in. 2 away.
You know, this group of hitters showing great discipline at the plate, and patience definitely seems to be the name of their game in this one. The numbers say they've only chased at pitches outside the zone a little more than 10% of the time, which is excellent.
And puts the squeeze on that one. And there's 1 away.
So those numbers I just mentioned tell me they've been really smart at the plate. They're feasting on the healthy stuff and avoiding the junk. Kind of sounds like your diet, Boo.
Armstrong back to work. Swing and a ball ripped out towards right center field. That'll touch down for a hit. And it gets by him. And he's going to get to second with nobody out. Digging in is the switch hitting outfielder, Cool Papa Bell. Just missed.
We don't really have an accurate accounting of how many bases Cool Papa Bell stole. Not every team in the Negro Leagues kept track of stolen bases, so they just went unrecorded.
That one missing inside. Not a lot of doubt that Bell stole a lot more bases than he got credit for, but we do know that in a game against a bunch of white all-stars, he stole second, third, and home on 3 straight pitches. Not many players with the guts to try that, let alone the skill to accomplish it. And that's a base hit. So a runner aboard to start the inning. So the lineup flips over. Cool Papa Bell digging in now. Lined into right. That is the inning. Hit in the air, center field. Hunter has a beat on it. Drops into the glove. Runner tags from third. The throw is offline, and he's in to score. It's 5-3.
Boog, we usually talk about how fast Cool Papa was, but he was seriously strong, too. He used a bat that was 35 inches long and 38 ounces. That's about as heavy as the bat Babe Ruth swung.
Delivers a pitch in for a strike at 95. Swing and a line drive and a base hit up the middle. So they get a man aboard with a 1-out single. And a pitch. Swing and a fly ball, well struck left field. No trouble here, puts it away for the out. And there's one away.
Nobody knew Cool Papa Bell better than his wife Clara.
Now it's the switch hitting outfielder, Cool Papa Bell. And that's outside. Pulls that one foul. In there at the knees. Going to count 1 and 2. And a foul ball, he stays alive. And foul ball. Swing and a ball lined out towards center. Tracks it down for the out. And there's one down. And that one fouled off. Ball. Smith off of first with 2 away. Outside low. 2-1. Laced down the line, and now maybe extra bases. Oh, the throw is wild. Headed for the plate. He's safe, and it's a 1-run game. And a swing and a miss there.
0-1.
On the ground. Steps on first for the out. Thompson back to work. On the ground, right side. In plenty of time to first. One gone to the bottom of the 8th. And we're back. And now, Cool Papa Bell. And that's a base hit. Man aboard on the leadoff single. So the batting order turns over. Here's the center fielder, Cool Papa Bell. And the first pitch misses for ball 1. There's a swing and a drive. And that one hops the wall. Coming home. The relay to the plate. It's offline. The run comes in. And it's 1-0.
What up, y'all? Yeah, soundtrack, what's poppin', baby? Woo! Y'all ain't know, I go by the name of
Cool Papa Bell played on 3 of the greatest Negro League teams of all time. You might make a case that they were 3 of the greatest baseball teams of all time. His St. Louis Stars, Homestead Grays, and Pittsburgh Crawfords. He was a star internationally. There was nothing that Cool Papa Bell didn't accomplish playing in the Negro Leagues. I guess you could say the only thing that he didn't accomplish was the opportunity to play in the major leagues. As Cool Papa would say, they said that they would let a black man play in the major leagues if they could find the right one. Well, according to Cool Papa Bell, they clearly weren't looking for the right one, because the right ones were all there in the Negro Leagues, and Cool Papa was right there in front of their eyes. Well, if you could see it.
just a rebel looking for a place to be.
Cool Papa Bell became legendary in St. Louis, where he was a member of the great St. Louis Stars, who won multiple championships there in the city of St. Louis. So it was only fitting that the city of St. Louis would name a street for Cool Papa Bell. Now, I think the speed limit on Cool Papa Bell Avenue is about 25, 30 miles per hour. Y'all, that's too slow. They should have named a section of I-70 for Cool Papa Bell.
Ready to go. And now the center fielder, Cool Papa Bell. In the air, pretty deep out to center field. Makes the grab, one away. Back to the top of the lineup. Cool Papa Bell digging in now. And that one is lifted in the air. Newman makes the play, and there's two down.
Judy Johnson was the best defensive third baseman in the Negro Leagues, and he said if Cool Papa Bell hit a ball to the left side that took more than one hop, there was no way to get him out. Judy said you might as well just hold the ball.
When Cool Papa got inducted into the Hall of Fame, he thanked them for letting him smell the roses while he was still alive and called it the biggest honor he ever received. But he always said the biggest thrill of his life was seeing the big leagues integrated. Safely into third with a leadoff triple. First offering misses badly for ball ball one.
In his last season at 43 years old, Bell hit .397 for the Homestead Grays, but lost the batting title to Monty Irvin because he took himself out of the lineup for the last few games. Cool Papa wanted Monty to win because it would give Irvin a better spotlight for Major League scouts.
Line drive, and this might be trouble. Coming home. He'll score, and they've tied it. Runner around third on his way to the plate. He will score, and they take the lead.
I remember when the great Willie Mays makes his first visit to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. And he walks in and he's peering through the chicken wire, looking out onto the field of legends. And as any good center fielder would do, the first thing that he asked Buck O'Neil was, "Buck, who is that in center field?" And Buck looks at him and says, "Willie, that was you before there ever was a you." From Indianapolis, Indiana, it is the legendary Oscar Charleston, whom Buck O'Neil would say without hesitation, the greatest baseball player he ever saw. Oscar Charleston joined the Indianapolis ABCs in 1920 when the Negro Leagues were established. The consummate five-tool player. You remember the great over-the-shoulder basket catch that Willie Mays makes in the World Series there in the Polo Grounds? Well, all the old-timers in the Negro League say, had that been Oscar Charleston, he'd have been waiting for that ball to come down. That's the kind of instinctive center fielder that he was. He had the defensive abilities of Tris Speaker, the tenacity of Ty Cobb, and the bat of Babe Ruth rolled into one dynamic package. That was the great Oscar Charleston.
Oscar Charleston stepping in now for the Crawfords with one gone and a runner in scoring position. High fly ball down the left field line. That's back, and he brings it into the warning track. Runner tags at second.
There are a lot of stories of how good Oscar Charleston was, Boo, but here's one stat that sums it up pretty well. He's the only player in MLB history to win the Triple Crown 3 times. The only other players to even do it twice are Rogers Hornsby and Ted Williams.
The last two of those Charleston Triple Crown years you mentioned, Singy, 1924 and 25, he was playing for the Harrisburg Giants, 2 hours east of the Philadelphia Phillies, who were finishing second to last both years, when they could have had an all-time talent leading them if not for segregation. Lifted in the air, left field, pretty well struck. He's got it. Runner tags for home. Throw is offline, and he scores. On the board first, it's 1-0. First pitch doesn't find the zone.
Dick C was part of the $1 million infield for the Newark Eagles with Ray Dandridge, Willie Wells, and Mule Suttles. Someone once asked Dick if Oscar was as great as everyone claimed, and he said he was greater.
This one is crushed, and it's gonna go. Oscar Charleston with a no-doubt home run. just missed. Swing and a high fly ball left field. And Stearns makes the catch. And that will end the inning. Oscar Charleston stepping in now. Ripped on a line. And a base hit. Into third now. So runners at the corners and one out.
And the first pitch fastball is in for a strike.
High fly ball out to left field. Sanders hauls it in for the out. 2 down. And there's a foul ball. 2 outs. Ground ball right side. Little on to first.
Got him.
And they get Charleston for the out. And that'll do it. Just
Nope,
missed. And it's fouled away.
Hey, 2.
Time called now. And a pitch. Charleston belts this one deep to right. That one carrying onto the track, and he makes the catch. One out, runner at second. And here's the first baseman, Oscar Charleston. Swings through that one. 0-1.
0-1's the count.
This one in the air, right field. Bradley on the move. Makes the grab. Nice play after the long run. And there's 2 down. Swing and a pop-up. Foul at a play off to the right side. That'll find the stands. Swing and a ground ball up the middle. Fires to first on the run. It's there, and that's a great play. That one's upstairs, ball 1.
Ball 2.
Swing and a pop. Oscar Charleston stepping in now for the Crawfords with 1 gone and a runner in scoring position. There's a strike. Bunt attempt, but that goes foul. The 0-2. Got him. 2 away. So the go-ahead run in scoring position. Oscar Charleston stepping in now. On a line, base hit. Rounds third, headed for the plate. He'll score easily. It's an RBI single, and it's 1-0. On the ground, right side, and it goes just foul.
There are a lot of stories of how good Oscar Charleston was, Boog, but here's one stat that sums it up pretty well. He's the only player in MLB history to win the Triple Crown 3 times. The only other players to even do it twice are Rogers Hornsby and Ted Williams.
The last 2 of those Charleston Triple Crown years you mentioned, Singy, 1924 and 25, he was playing for the Harrisburg Giants, 2 hours east of the Philadelphia Phillies, who were finishing second to last both years, when they could have had an all-time talent leading them if not for segregation. And there's a rocket into the outfield. Oscar picks up the single, and now it's a 2-hit ball game for him. Martin Digo digging in now. Swing and a ball lifted in the air. This one lifted to the outfield. Oscar's really hustling for it. He hangs on. What an incredible catch from Oscar Charleston.
In 1921, as a member of the St. Louis Giants, Oscar Charleston put together one of the greatest single seasons not in black baseball history, but in baseball history, when he led the Negro Leagues in home runs, doubles, triples, stolen bases, and batting average in the same season. And with the integration of the stats of the Negro Leagues into the annals of Major League Baseball's record books, Oscar Charleston now stands in 3rd place on the all-time batting average list, just behind his former teammate, Josh Gibson, then Ty Cobb, and of course, the great Oscar Charleston.
Chance for the Hilldales to break it open early with Oscar Charleston digging in and 2 runners on with nobody out. That one to first. Feeds to second. Out there. Plenty of time at first. That's a double play.
In 1921, not only did Oscar Charleston win the Triple Crown playing on the St. Louis Giants, he led the league in steals, too. Only one other player ever did that, Ty Cobb in 1909. But Cobb didn't also lead the league in doubles and triples like Oscar did. Unreal.
Swing and a high fly ball out towards right center field. Bradley sizes this one up, hauls it in for the out. 1 up, 1 down. Oscar didn't stop dominating once the 1921 season ended. The St. Louis Giants played a 5-game interracial exhibition series against the Cardinals, and Oscar hit over 300 with 2 homers, 2 triples, and 8 runs batted in. On the ground to first. He'll do it himself, and the leadoff hitter set down to open the 7th. First and second, no outs. Oscar Charleston stepping in now. Miller back to work. Crushed. Left center field. This one's deep. Forget it.
During the 1935 Negro League World Series, the Pittsburgh Crawfords, who had had one of the most dominant regular seasons in Negro League's history, found themselves in a dogfight against the New York Cubans. As a matter of fact, they trailed in that series 3-2. And in a critical, pivotal moment, Oscar Charleston is squaring off against the great Martin Dihigo. You might know him as El Maestro, the master, one of the most versatile players in baseball history. The Higo is on the mound. It's 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth when Oscar Charleston hits a 3-run homer to tie the game. And that kept the Crawfords alive, and they would go on to win that 1935 Negro League World Series, much to do with the heroics of the great Oscar Charleston.
Here's Oscar Charleston to the plate with a chance to make this a big first inning for the Crawfords. On the corner for a strike. It's 0-1.
Oscar Charleston didn't just star on that 1935 Pittsburgh Crawfords team. He was the manager, too. He skippered the team to the Negro League's World Series title, out-managing the great Martin Digo along the way.
And that one is downstairs. Now 2 balls and a strike. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did.
That 1935 series had one of the greatest groups of talent ever. Pittsburgh had Oscar, Josh Gibson, Cool Papa Bell, Judy Johnson, and Leroy Matlock. And the Cubans had Martin Digo, Rap Dixon, and Lefty Tion.
Blake makes the grab. And that should get the job done as he tags from third. He scores on the sac fly, and they take a 2-run lead. Silva back to work. That one lifted to left. Dixon going after it. Squeezes it, and there's one down. And that is out of play. Don't forget that Oscar had that incredible 1935 series when he was 38 years old. You know how many other players have batted 300 and hit 3 homers in a World Series at that age, Singy?
I think just 2. Let's see, Johnny Mize and Willie Stargell.
2 on, 1 out. Oscar Charleston stepping in now. Missed with a changeup. Ball 1. To the right side. What a stop. Throws from his knees. Runs, scores, but a terrific play to get the out. To the right side. He takes it himself to the bag, and that'll do it. First pitch misses. On the ground. So 2 in scoring position with 1 out. Charleston now at the plate. Line drive, base hit. 1 run is in. Headed for the plate. He'll score. 2 runs are in, and it's a 2-run single, and they lead by 3. Silva back to work. Center field. Blake settles under it. Puts it away for the out. Ball 1 there.
1-0.
Line drive caught. And welcome back to the ballpark. All set to start the 9th in this one. And now the first baseman, Oscar Charleston. Fought off foul. And time called at the plate. Maybe trying to slow things down here in a crucial spot. That one just misses. In the air, right side, Perez. One away. And here's the first baseman, Oscar Charleston. First pitch just misses. That's a laser base hit. One run across. Now 2 runs score. Now a relay to second, and he's out trying for 2. Here's Oscar Charleston to the plate with a chance to make this a big first inning for the Crawfords. Yeah, that's fouled off.
Ball.
Oh, great stop. Fires to first. Runs, scores, but a terrific play to get the out. This to center field. Blake on the move. Two on, one out. Oscar Charleston stepping in now. Swings and sends a rocket to right. And he makes the catch. Both runners tagging from second and third. He's in to score on the sac fly, and they lead by 2. Lifted in the air, right field. Perez sizing this one up. Makes the So 2 in scoring position with 1 out. Charleston getting ready to hit. That's towards center. Makes the grab. Runner tags from third. That's a sacrifice. Here's Oscar Charleston to the plate with a chance to make this a big first inning for the Crawfords. Out towards left center. Blake on his way over. Nabs it. Both runners tagging. He's in on the sacrifice fly. And they take a 2-run lead. And the first offering is not close.
Oscar Charleston didn't just star on that 1935 Pittsburgh Crawfords team. He was the manager, too. He skippered the team to the Negro League's World Series title, out-managing the great Martin Digo along the way.
1 down, base is empty. Oscar Charleston stepping in now. And that one lifted in the air, center field. 2 on, 1 out. And now the first baseman, Oscar Charleston. Base hit, 1 run is in. Coming home. He'll score. 2 runs are in to second, but way too late. Safe there. Silva back to work. Swing, and that ball smashed on a line. Pulls it down, and he makes the catch. And a quick out, number one. And a swing and a line drive at a right field. Perez pulls it down. Out, number two. Double play ball to second. There's one. Not in time at first. It's a fielder's choice. Here's Oscar Charleston to the plate with a chance to make this a big first inning for the Crawfords. Swing and a miss. There's that changeup.
0-1.
Two on, one out. Down the line. And that drops foul.
One, two.
And now before the 1-2, time is called at home plate. And now the lefty on the ground, right side. Fernandez tosses to first. Runner scores, though. That's a little insurance, and the lead is 2. And first. So 2 in scoring position with 1 out. Oscar Charleston will hit next. Check swing. He went too far, and it's a strike.
Oscar Charleston didn't just star on that 1935 Pittsburgh Crawfords team. He was the manager, too. He skippered the team to the Negro League's World Series title, out-managing the great Martin Digo along the way.
Comes up empty. That's strike 2.
That 1935 series had one of the greatest groups of talent ever. Pittsburgh had Oscar, Josh Gibson, Cool Papa Bell, Judy Johnson, and Leroy Matlock. And the Cubans had Martin Digo, Rap Dixon, and Lefty Tion.
Oscar Charleston stepping in now. Out to short, Cabrera. Throws to first. There for the out. Runner scores from third. That one fouled off. Here comes a pitch. Here's Oscar Charleston to the plate with a chance to make this a big first inning for the Crawfords. And a foul ball. Second and third, one away.
2 strikes.
Fouls that off to the left, and will do it again.
One and two.
Bell at third. Glass at second with one away. That one hit to right. Perez towards the line. Grabs it on the run. Runner tagging from third. He's in on the sac fly, and they lead by 2. Oscar Charleston stepping in now. And the first pitch misses for ball 1. In the air, right field. Perez settles under it and makes the catch. Runner tags for home. Play at the plate. Not in time. He's safe. It's 2-0. Pulled hard, but it's a foul ball.
Ball.
Foul ball, still a 1-2 count. Charleston belts this one deep to right. Back there. Boom goes the dynamite. Foul ball there. Right-handed reliever. Swing and a miss as he was out front.
No balls. 2 strikes.
Now a fly ball to right center. Blake on the move. And it's caught for the out.
Ball. 1-0.
And that's
Ball,
way
that's
high.
high.
And that's ball 2. Here's a rip to short, but he's there for the 3rd out. And here's the first baseman, Oscar Charleston. Foul ball. 2 outs and 1 in scoring position. Line drive, base hit. Coming home. He will score, and it's an RBI single. It's 7-0. Now it's Oscar Charleston trying to bring home the winning run for Pittsburgh against the legendary Martin Digo. Slashed foul down the right side. That'll hook off into the seats.
Game on the line. Oscar Charleston with the chance to tie it up, facing off against Martin Digo. What a tremendous matchup right here.
Digo is just 1 strike away. Hit to right, and that Oscar Charleston digs in against Martin Digo with a chance to win it for the Crawfords. And that misses. And that's ball 1.
Well, 2 of the all-time best going toe-to-toe right here. Martin Digo on the bump. Oscar Charleston in the box trying to tie up the game.
Hit to right. So 2 outs with runners on the corners. Oscar Charleston stepping in now. That one almost got him.
Aye. 1-1.
That one is crushed, and this series will continue. Oscar Charleston blasts a 3-run walk-off homer to win it for the Crawfords.
Buck O'Neil would say of Oscar Charleston that he was the strongest man he ever saw playing this game. He says Charleston could take a baseball, put it between both palms, and turn the leather on the baseball. Just freakishly strong. Of course, he was also extremely tough. He enlisted in the U.S. Army when he was 15 years old. Now, he lied about his age to get in, but can you imagine a 15-year-old serving his country? Oscar Charleston would eventually serve during World War I and would come back home and play for his native Indianapolis ABCs, but you could tell how tough he was. He once snatched the hood off of a Ku Klux Klansman and lived to tell about it. In Cuba, there's the great story of him going on a play home, and he barrels over the Cuban catcher, and it incites a fight. And back then, the military was the security for those games. And so they were prepared to arrest Charleston. And the general of the army said, no, no, any man that strong, don't bother him. That was Oscar Charleston.
Oscar Charleston steps in for the Hilldales with runners at the corners and nobody out. A big opportunity. And that one fouled off. Yeah, big swing and a miss.
Chet Brewer, one of the best pitchers of the Negro League, said he loved to pitch when Oscar Charleston was playing first base because Oscar was so strong that he could take a new baseball, turn it between his hands, and open up the seams.
Bang! Strike one. Oscar was definitely feared for his ability just as much as his strength. Connie Johnson, who later pitched for the White Sox and Orioles, said he'd come to bat with the score tied and they'd walk him. I wondered why until one day they pitched to him and he hit it out of the park. Adios, pelota!
Yeah, whenever I miss those days, visit my LA. Under the ground, running around, we was them kids that played.
Oscar Charleston played for 43 years in the Negro League. That is unbelievable. And then, of course, Oscar Charleston would become a manager. As tenacious as Oscar Charleston was on the field, he was the complete opposite off the field, where he was a gentle giant, nurturing his ball players. And three of those ball players, while managing the Indianapolis Clowns, were the three pioneering women who called the Negro Leagues home: Tony Stone, Mamie Peanut Johnson, and Connie Morgan. And Charleston had the tremendous ability to instill great confidence in his players, which certainly belied how he performed on the field. But maybe that's the beauty of Oscar Charleston, who would also go on to scout for Branch Rickey's Brooklyn Brown Dodger, and was part of the effort that ultimately landed us Jackie Robinson, who was playing for the Kansas City Monarchs. So Oscar Charleston has a tremendous baseball career from every facet of the game, and it led him into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1976.
Are you with that like I'm with that? Hope you watching your back.
Here's the great Oscar Charleston stepping in for Pittsburgh to face Bill Foster. Charleston belts this one deep to right. Adios, pelota!
I really love about this phenom by the name of Shohei Ohtani is he's now led folks to come to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum wanting to learn about the great two-way stars of the Negro Leagues.
Look, it's 6 o'clock, I'm hopping out of the bed. Rain falling, calling X, but my phone line's dead.
Perhaps the greatest two-way player of them all was the legendary Wilbur Bullet Rogan.
Don't nobody want to dance slow in the rain.
Who was a star for the great Kansas City Monarchs in the Negro Leagues. Now, Bullet Rogan, at first glance, didn't look like a great athlete. Shohei Ohtani is an imposing figure. He is a big young man. But Bullet Rogan was on the opposite end of the spectrum. Stood about 5'7", weighed about 180 pounds. Satchel Paige would call him chunky. But Bullet Rogan was a tremendous athlete. When Bullet Rogan wasn't pitching, he played the outfield and hit cleanup for the Kansas City Monarchs. Bullet Rogan could rake. Leroy Satchel Paige, who said that Bullet Rogan was the onlyest baseball player that he ever saw, that he ever heard of, that pitched and hit cleanup in the batting order. That was Bullet Rogan.
Ready to go now. Now it's the second baseman, Taylor. That catches the zone for a strike, and we are underway.
One strike.
That one finds the zone. 0-2 now.
The term two-way player really doesn't capture how spectacular Bullet Rogan was. Bob Feller said he could do anything. He was one of the best black ball players I ever saw. And Feller barnstormed with just about every Negro League star.
Swing and a foul out of play. Just about the only thing Bullet wasn't the best at was managing. Chet Brewer once said he wasn't a good manager because he was such a great player himself. He thought it should be easy for you. He didn't know how great he was. And that's down, a base hit. And that extends the inning. And next will be the cleanup hitter, Murray. And that one just misses. A ball and no strikes. Here's a swing and a drive left field, and he knew it. Here's the second baseman, Taylor. That's too low. And we're underway. Popped up. Snags it on the run. And there's one down. Jones stands in now and watches strike one. And that's downstairs. And it's 1-1.
1-1.
Swing and a miss. That one at 1-0-1.
1-2.
That one back up the middle, and it gets through. So a man aboard now with one away. And the batter now, Glass. And that one fouled off. The pitch. Swings through that one for strike two.
0-2.
Cut on and miss. Struck him out. That's out number two. Murray in the box now. No balls and a strike. That one at triple digits.
No balls. 2 strikes.
Got him swinging. Bullet Rogan, his second K of the game. Hughes, the leadoff batter, as he swings through it for strike one. Swing and a miss as he was late.
No balls.
And that's downstairs and outside. Swing and a miss. And he's down on strikes. And he's registered 3 Ks in this one.
1-0.
Swing and a foul back. That's out of play. Got the bat going too soon. It's strike two.
1-2.
And that is downstairs. Now 2-2. 2 down, bases empty. Here's the center fielder, McDonald. And he starts his afternoon off right with a double. So runner at second, 2 down. Hayes digs in now, and a curve is down and in.
1-0.
And a strike right through there. That one at triple digits. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. He picks up his 5th strikeout on the hill. Here's Bullet Rogan for the first time in this one, and a chance to do some damage. And that is out of play.
What a talent. Bullet Rogan was. Not only was he an ace on the mound, but in 17 years of Negro League play, he batted .335 and slugged over .500. And unlike Babe Ruth, he pitched almost the whole time with a career ERA of just 2.68.
And that is the inning. Tap foul at the plate. The wind of the pitch. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. If you're going to bring up Bullet Rogan's career stats, Singy, we've got to highlight what he did against white major leaguers. Only 3 recorded games, but he went 4 for 11 at the plate, and he gave up just 4 runs in 2 complete games on the mound. Comes up empty. Bullet Rogan digging in now. Yeah, that's fouled off. Hughes over at second. Smith at first. 1 gone. Hard grounder into the outfield for a knock. And they stop him at third, so bases loaded with 1 away. Miller back to work. Fouled off left side. Oh, 1 down. Swing and a drive, and no doubt about it, Bullet Rogan blasts that one out of here.
Bullet Rogan was one of the winningest pitchers in Negro League's history. He now holds the distinction of having the 4th highest winning percentage in Major League Baseball history. And of course, he earned his nickname Bullet because he got that thing up to the plate in a hurry. What's even more remarkable is he threw from a no wind-up delivery, and yet his nickname was Bullet. He had the heavy fastball. He had a great curveball, a palm ball. I guess you could say he threw everything at hitters, including the kitchen sink. And while his control was not as impeccable as, let's say, a Satchel Paige, Bullet Rogan had the uncanny ability to work himself into jams, but the great stuff and the supreme confidence to get himself out of jams.
Big spot here for Bullet Rogan and the Monarchs at a serious jam in the 9th. Digging in, Murray.
1-0. Ball.
The winning run on second base.
That's right. 2-1.
Swing and a little roller right side. He takes it on his own. 1 out, bottom of the 9th. And the batter now, Murray. And he deals. Right down to shoot. Strike one.
0-1.
Swing and a miss, and that's strike two.
No balls, 2 strikes. Ball.
Crowd locked in right now. 1-run game here in the ninth. Got him. Rogan with the heater for the K. And now the center fielder. Glass. Ball one low.
Yeehaw.
Tapped at the plate, but it's a foul ball. Swing and a miss. That's a strikeout. And they're down to their last out. Hayes swings through it for strike one.
1 strike.
Swing and a miss. And the count is 0-2.
No ball,
1 strike away.
In the inaugural Negro League World Series held in 1924, Bullet Rogan won 2 of those games and was one of the hitting stars in that series, helping the Monarchs capture Kansas City's first ever professional sports team championship in 1924. Frank Duncan, who had been a great catcher and would eventually manage the great Kansas City Monarchs, when asked about who he would choose between Satchel Paige and Bullet Rogan, Duncan's response was Rogan, because he knew that Satchel had all the stuff to get you out, but Bullet Rogan's versatility perhaps made him even more valuable than the legendary Leroy Satchel Paige.
Bullet Rogan up now with a chance to break it open early for Kansas City. The changeup missing. Ball one.
Counts 1-0.
Between 1924 and 1925, Bullet Rogan was as good as you can imagine a player possibly being.
That's a ball.
He won 36 games against just
2-0.
8 losses, batted .380, tossed 41 complete games out of 50 starts.
3 balls.
And another ball.
When Bullet got inducted into the Hall of Fame, his son said he didn't know if his dad had thrown as hard as Satchel Paige, but when Satch was on the mound, he needed a designated hitter. When my dad was on the mound, he was in the cleanup spot.
Here's a rocket to right field. Brings it in. Runner tags from third. The tag gets him, and it's a double. Two on, 1 out. Bullet Rogan digging in now. First offering, and it just misses.
Nope.
Line drive, that's a base hit. 1 runs in. Another comes in to score. It's 2-0. And that misses. And it's 1-0. On the ground to third. They put the tag on him. What a double play that was. Inning over. Kirby back to work. He swings and fouls one off. Next offering down low and in the dirt.
I got 1 ball, 1 strike.
And that one in the air center field. Newman makes the catch. One down. Swing and a drive, and no doubt about it, Bullet Rogan blasts that one out of here.
To give you an indication of Bullet Rogan's supreme confidence, playing down in Cuba, and his catcher was Hall of Famer Raleigh Biz Mackey. And they're facing a team that featured the great Alejandro Ohms, a notorious curveball hitter. And so Mackey is laying down the signs for Rogan, and Rogan's shaking him off because Rogan wants to throw his curveball. And Mackey's like, no, don't throw him a curveball. And Rogan's like, I got this. He can't hit my curveball. And what does he do? He drops 3 hooks and struck Ohms out. Bullet Rogan was a transcending kind of player.
Bullet Rogan just 1 out from getting the win for Kansas City.
That's inside.
Martinez, the next to hit.
Heck what?
Bounding ball here, rolls foul. Rogan is just 1 strike away.
Ball outside.
Still 2-2 after the foul ball. Deep breath, he's ready, and he fires.
Yeah.
Got him, and that's the ball game. Monarchs looking to add on to their lead as Bullet Rogan digs in with 1 out and a runner at third. There's a swing and a miss.
Not a lot of players can claim the championship success that Bullet Rogan had. Not only did he win a Negro League World Series with Kansas City, but he won a title for Almendares in the Cuban Winter League and multiple championships in the California Winter League.
The lefty ready, and a 1-1. Swing and a foul back, and that's out of play. You mentioned Bullet's success in the California Winter League, Singy. He went 42-14 in his career there and had a record 52 complete games, including 1 win where he shut down Hall of Famers Jimmy Fox and Al Simmons. Next one misses, and the count's full.
Going back to Bullet's time with Kansas City, don't forget that his first season, they had one of the all-time great starting trios in their rotation with Rogan, Jose Mendez, and John Donaldson. That's an incredible group right there.
Throws to first in time. Run scores, and that makes it 2-0 as they get the out. That one misses,
ball, no strike.
And that's ball 1. Swing and a high fly ball down the right field line. Bradley makes the grab, 2 down. And that one a little below the knees. And that is ball 1. Swung on, belted. That's back there. Adios, pelota.
Wilbur Rogan would join the Kansas City Monarchs after playing for one of the greatest military baseball teams of all time, the legendary 25th Infantry Wreckers. The thing that I find so fascinating is that these African-American ball players who served valiantly, they were fighting for a country that essentially wasn't fighting for them. And yet if you were to ask them why they wanted to fight and why they wanted to serve, well, the answer would be simple. Because we were American. And there's no greater way to prove how American you are than service to your country. Bullet Rogan was nearly 31 years old when he joined the Negro Leagues. By baseball standards, he's old, and yet Rogan was still tremendously impactful. He would become one of the first superstars of the newly formed Negro National League. In Kansas City, Bullet Rogan lay at rest in a cemetery in what I guess you could describe as a rather nondescript grave site. And a few years ago, we were able to work with the cemetery, who did not allow upright headstones, to install a monument that was befitting a player the magnitude of Wilbur Bullet Rogan, who in 1998 finally crossed over that threshold into baseball's immortality when he was inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Bullet Rogan to the plate now, and he's looking to knock in the runners from second and third. Skips in, and excellent work to corral that one. Could have been dangerous.
It really is a pity that Bullet Rogan didn't get to play in organized professional baseball until his late 20s. Given how dominant he was right away, he could have had many more incredible seasons in the Negro National League.
Base hit, one run is in. A second scores as well, and they lead by 2. Lifted to left center, way back there, and that is gone.
Listen.
By now, you may have noticed that the Negro Leagues had great nicknames. As a matter of fact, if you didn't have a nickname, well, you probably couldn't play. And one of the great nicknames and one of the greatest players that you likely never heard of was the legendary Norman Stearns, a.k.a. Turkey Stearns. The great cool Papa Bell would say that if Turkey Stearns is not in the Hall of Fame, then no one should be in the Hall of Fame.
Ooh, that Turkey Stearns was something. Somebody could hit the ball. I played with him, against him, and he could run, too. Yeah, he could throw. He could do everything, and was a gentleman. Who I think hit the most home run? Turkey Stearns, I would say.
Norman Turkey Stearns earned his nickname Turkey because when he ran the base pass, his arms flapped like a turkey. But as I remind folks, this turkey could fly. Around the base paths and in the outfield, tracking down everything that came his way, and he had a cannon for a throwing arm. There was nothing that Turkey Stearns couldn't do on a baseball field.
No, you just gotta open your eyes.
Now it's going to be Turkey Stearns. Swing and a ground ball, and that chance handled. Tosses to first, and they get Stearns for the out. So the lineup flips over. Turkey Stearns stepping to the plate now. And the first pitch misses for ball one.
You know, Norman Stearns sometimes had a different explanation for how he came to be called Turkey. He said it was because he had a pot belly as a kid, and some other kids thought he looked like a turkey. Man, kids can be so mean. Anyhow, the name stuck.
And Bell hauls it in for the out. And that one fouled off. In the dirt. Well done behind the dish. The numbers Turkey put up as a rookie in 1923 are just eye-popping. He batted .366 with 18 homers and 89 knocked in, and a Detroit Stars record .703 slugging percentage. Quick throw back in. Lead runner holds at second with one gone. Outside low, ball one.
One interesting thing about Turkey, he batted and threw lefty his whole career, but he was a natural right-hander. Apparently, he burned his arm as a young man and switched to hitting left-handed.
Tosses to first. Third out, and that ends the frame. Now, Turkey Stearns.
Hike one. 0-1. Ball. 1-1.
Swing and a pop-up. Foul territory for the catcher. Makes the catch for the out. Smoked on the ground a second. Over to first, and they get Stearns for the out. And that is the inning. That one ripped. That's back there. And boom goes the dynamite.
Well, Norman Turkey Stearns, as a member of the Detroit Stars, played at Mack Park, which had what looked like a friendly .265 wall down the right field line. But what you'll want to remember is that wall was 12 feet high. And Norman Turkey Stearns knew that he needed to hit it high and let it fly. Satchel Paige would talk about Norman Turkey Stearns' hitting prowess, that he said Turkey would always hit him. In a game, he had collected 3 hits off of him. And Satchel said, the fourth time up at the plate, I felt like I better just roll the ball to the plate because I can't get him out. When Leroy Satchel Paige says that, then you know you must be a great hitter, and Turkey Stearns was just that.
Runner at third with one gone. And here's the slugging Turkey Stearns. Up and in, ball one.
Take a look out at the right field wall here at Mack Park. It was no joke. Turkey Stearns used to say that wall needed a tall fly ball if you were going to hit a homer.
Ground ball to the right side. Takes it to the bag, steps on first, and it's out number 2.
It wasn't just in Detroit where
Turkey Stearns stepping to the plate now. Swings and pulls it foul to the right side. Perry stands at third with one gone in the inning. Oh, that was scorched. Forget it. Turkey Stearns with a tremendous home run. Runner at third, nobody out. Glass now at the plate. Bennett back to work. In the air, center field. Turkey makes the catch. Now the throw home. Fires it to the plate. It's off the mark and he scores. Now the left fielder, Glass. And the first pitch is drilled in the air out to center. Turkey makes the catch. Now the throw home. The throw in. And he's safe. Tie ball game. Runner in scoring position. No outs. Glass getting ready to hit. And the first pitch is drilled in the air out to center. Turkey makes the catch. Now the throw home. Fires to the plate. Got him. Turkey Stearns with a laser to cut down the run and keep the Stars in front.
Unlike the power personified by Josh Gibson, here's Norman Turkey Stearns weighing in at about 165 pounds. So you didn't just automatically see power hitter, but maybe old Turkey had you just where he wanted you, because they would look at him standing there at home plate with his legendary pigeon-toed stance. And I think all the pitchers thought, oh man, I got this dude right where I want him. And old Turkey had him set up, and he would knock that thing out the ballpark with the best of them. Is why a lot of people are surprised to learn that he led the Negro Leagues in home runs 7 seasons. He hit over 300 in 16 seasons. He now ranks number 6 in career Major League lifetime batting average and number 6 in all-time slugging percentage. I guess that's why you could say you never judge a book by its cover.
Bases loaded for the Stars, and here comes the big bat of Turkey Stearns. Armstrong back to work. Line drive to short and caught. Turkey Stearns was an absolute extra base machine, leading the league in triples 6 times and in homers 7 times. No other player in baseball history has even done it 5 times each. In the air out to center. It gets down, a base hit. Runner stops at second, and the first two reach to start the inning. Hit hard, base hit. So a two-out knock keeps the inning alive. Takes the turn. He's digging for second. Now the tag at second, and he's out, trying for two. That ends. Turkey Stearns stepping to the plate now. Armstrong back to work. And fouled off.
Ball.
All loaded up. Dangerous hitter at the plate. And this one gets away and can't squeeze it. But no advance from the runners. Grounder might be two. There's one. To first, not in time. And a run scores.
That's the ball. 1-0. Ball. That's down.
Tied up here in the early going. Swing and a ball ripped right field. And that one back. And that one is gone. Now this is in the air down the line. Smith on the move towards foul ground. Couldn't get to it before it dropped foul. Swing and a foul straight back.
One ball, two strikes.
Fouls it off, still 1-2. That smash towards center. They got it for out number 2. One down. And next will be the cleanup hitter, Turkey Stearns. And that one hammered. McDonald going back on this one. Bangs off the wall. Lead runner around second. Perry around third. Relay throw home. But it's offline. It's 4-2. Chance for Turkey Stearns to do some damage for Detroit as he digs in here. Drilled to right, way back there, and that is gone.
As a power hitter, Turkey Stearns really never counted his home runs, particularly if they didn't help them win a game. As a matter of fact, the great Buck O'Neil joined the Monarchs the same year that Turkey was there. And Turkey, like most great hitters, had multiple bats. And so in this particular game, he hit it to the warning track, where the opposition caught it right on the base of the warning track. And that night, Buck says he goes up to check on Turkey in his hotel room, and there's Turkey sitting in the bed with the two bats. He had the lighter bat that he had used for the flyout, and he's got the heavier bat. And he looks at the lighter bat and says, if I hadn't used you, and I would have used you, I would have hit that ball out the ballpark. Now, I'm not going to say that Turkey was superstitious, but there might have been a little bit of stitious to his game, and it served him well because Norman Turkey Stearns was a tremendous all-around hitter who hit for power and hit for average.
Scoring opportunity for the Monarchs as Turkey Stearns steps to the dish against Leon Day. And that's too high.
Turkey Stearns carved out an incredible legacy in Detroit, especially when you consider that the addition of Negro League statistics to MLB's record book in 2024 put him in the top 7 in career batting average, slugging percentage, and OPS.
2 on, 1 out. Pitch misses, and a count 2-1. Chris, you brought up Turkey's legacy in Detroit. I'd say it's between him and Ty Cobb for the best outfielder ever in that city, even ahead of Al Kaline. That's the kind of player Turkey Stearns was. Throw comes in and holds the runner at third. They're at the corners now with still only 1 away. First pitch doesn't find the zone.
I agree that Turkey's on the same level as Cobb, Boog. If you adjust his career stats over a 162-game average, that's a .348 batting average with 31 homers and 165 RBIs per season. That's right up there with Babe Ruth, Jimmy Fox, and Barry Bonds. Incredible.
Turkey Stearns hailed from Nashville, Tennessee. Fell in love with the game of baseball at an early age, and it would ultimately lead him to his dream of playing in the Negro Leagues. There are those who will say that Turkey Stearns, like a lot of the great players from the Negro Leagues, should have had an opportunity to play in the major leagues. And they're right. But Turkey Stearns harbored no bitterness, never expressed any ill will toward anyone who may have attempted to perpetrate something against them as they were trying to play baseball in this country. And I find that spirit to be so endearing. Turkey Stearns knew that he played with and against some of the greatest athletes to ever play this game. They just happened to be in the Negro Leagues. And I'm so proud that the city of Detroit has continued to recognize the exploits of Norman Turkey Stearns with the renovation of Hamtramck Stadium in Detroit. The field is aptly named for Norman Turkey Stearns. And of course, the great Turkey Stearns flew himself into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 2000, a place that he so deserved to be.
Turkey Stearns steps in with a chance to pad the early lead for KC. That one to first, and that's just foul.
Turkey Stearns and the Detroit Stars played at Mack Park through 1929, but a fire burned down the grandstand. They moved to Hamtramck Stadium in 1930, and Ty Cobb threw out the first pitch at the first game there.
The Negro Leagues had its fair share of dominant pitchers, the likes of Satchel Paige, Leon Day, Bullet Rogan, Hilton Smith. The list goes on and on and on, even though the Negro Leagues doesn't get nearly enough credit for the great pitching that was part of this league. But one of the more unheralded pitchers, great pitchers, was the mighty Matlock, Leroy Matlock. Born in Moberly, Missouri, would go on to become one of the Negro League's top left-handed hurlers with great stuff who just relished in playing the game. What I admire about Leroy Matlock, number one, he was one of the league's smartest pitchers. He didn't have the dominating, overpowering fastball like a Bullet Rogan or a Satchel Paige. He relied on pinpoint control and change of speed to keep hitters off balance. And the crafty left-hander was able to get guys out, and he did it for a long time with guts, control, and guile.
Now it's the second baseman, Waters. That one away inside. Hit in the air, right field. No trouble here, puts it away for the out. And there's one down. Reese now in the box, comes up empty with a swing there. Late with the swing there.
Leroy Matlock kind of flew under the radar as a pitcher, but there's a good reason that Cool Papa Bell called him one of the most underrated pitchers in the league. He could dominate any lineup on any given day, and he used every inch of his natural ability.
Back up the, oh, that got him. Safe at first, and now we'll check on the lefty. Hope he's all right. Turkey Stearns now at the plate as he swings through strike one. Swing and a miss, and the count is 0-2. Reading up on Matlock, he comes across. As a guy who was the opposite of Satchel Paige, didn't seek the spotlight, wasn't a showman on the mound, but still a tremendous pitcher and ball player. He once said, "I'd rather play baseball than eat." Ready to go for the last half of the inning. Now the third baseman, Taylor. Curveball drops in for a strike.
It's always interesting to see how Negro League stars performed against teams of white players. Well, in his prime, Leroy Matlock went 2-1 in 6 games against the white all-star squads and allowed less than 3 runs per 9 innings.
Waves at the bender for the strikeout. Gardner digs in now. Top of the zone for a called strike. Chris, you brought up Leroy's performance against the white all-star teams. He once outdueled Dizzy Dean and dominated against Hall of Famers Jimmy Fox, Rogers Hornsby, Johnny Mize, Paul and Lloyd Wainer, and Bill Terry. That's an unreal level of competition. Harvey in the box with 2 gone and takes a look at a called strike. Up the middle, Little. Now a jump throw, and very nicely done for the out. Bottom of the inning, and here is Bell. First pitch, not close.
One of those games against white teams, Boog, was a complete game win for Leroy and the St. Louis Stars, where he held 3 future Hall of Famers to 3 combined hits. Sadly, it was the last ever game for the St. Louis Stars.
Next pitch is outside. Fastball for a strike at 95. Swings through that, and it's a strikeout. Leroy Matlock continuing to mow down these Detroit hitters. And now here is Phillips.
1 ball, no strikes.
Swing and a ground ball, and that one gets through into center field. So now back to the top of the order. Here's the second baseman, Waters. Fastball for a strike. Check swing. He went too far, and it's a strike.
0-2.
And a curve misses outside. Swings and misses. Struck him out. Reese stands in here. Takes ball 1 low. Out in front with the swing, and that is strike 1.
1-1.
And a swing and a miss.
1 and 2's the count.
Got him swinging on the curveball. And that's 6 Ks for him in this one.
If you want to draw a major league contemporary comparison to the mighty Matlock, think Greg Maddux.
Maddux continues with a strikeout in every inning.
That same kind of surgical, pinpoint control without the overpowering fastball.
Matlock played with me, and he could throw that ball any place he wanted. He's one of the few pitchers that I could just truthfully say they had perfect control, and he did.
When Leroy Matlock was squared off against opposing hitters, he was playing chess while they were playing checkers. And Leroy seemed to always win those chess matches, keeping them completely off balance. His ability to change speeds actually made his fastball seem faster than it actually was, baffling them with stuff that probably had them turning, going back to the dugout, wondering, how in the world did I not hit this dude? But they couldn't touch him.
Now at the plate, Smith. Strike 2.
Other players considered Leroy Matlock the smartest pitcher in the league. The only other Negro Leagues pitcher who came close to Leroy's level of control and command was Bill Foster. And he's in the Hall of Fame now.
Hughes, batting with 1 down, takes a strike.
It's 0-1.
And there's a foul ball.
Not a lot of pitchers after Greg Maddux and Pedro Martinez who have that kind of elite command. Zach Greinke, CC Sabathia, and now George Kirby are really the only ones that leap to mind.
Throws to first in time. Fought off foul. Chris, what is it about a pitcher with incredible command that makes it so difficult for hitters?
Well, I always found that they're always thinking one step ahead of you. Usually they lack the velocity, but their execution and their location is so on point that they're just difficult to square up.
Spoils a 2-strike pitch, and he'll see another. Two down, nobody on.
Full count.
Good battle here. About to be the 8th pitch of the at-bat. And a swing and a miss. He battled for a long time, but it finishes with a strikeout. You can't be mad at yourself after an at-bat like that one.
Ironically, that 35 Pittsburgh Crawfords team, widely regarded as one of the greatest of all time, had the legendary Satchel Paige as a member of the team, but Satchel left early on in a contract dispute, and that made Leroy Matlock the ace of that pitching staff, and he dazzled. Leroy Matlock, between 1935 and 1936, ran off a streak of 26 consecutive wins, including an unprecedented, undefeated season in 1935. In Game 3 of the 1935 Negro League World Series, Matlock took the heel and promptly shut out the New York Cubans to help the Pittsburgh Crawfords win the 1935 World Series.
Welcome back to Greenleaf Field. We're in the top of the 8th. Now it's the second baseman, Little. On the ground to third. Throws across the diamond. Leadoff man is out here in the 8th. Smith in the box with one away as he takes ball one.
1-0.
Swings and hits one in the air out towards right field. Glass racing over to make the catch. 2 outs, base is empty. And now the first baseman, West. That one misses in the dirt.
That 1935 season of Leroy Matlock's is unbelievable. His ERA for that year was more than 3 times as good as the league average. That's even better than what Pedro Martinez did in 2000. Incredible.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Swings through that one. It's a strikeout. Back now at Greenleaf Field. Turkey Stearns stepping to the plate now. Swing and a hard hit grounder to third. Fair ball. Around first and hustling for second. And 1 pitch into the inning. It's a leadoff double. Runner in scoring position. No outs. Perry the next to hit. Here's a high fly ball out to center. And Bell makes the play. And there's one away. A couple years later, Matlock was called the Black Carl Hubbell in some promotional material. Hubbell won 24 straight in 1937 for the New York Giants, or 2 fewer than Leroy did across 1935 and 1936. That is truly amazing. And there's a ball.
Here's how dominant Leroy was in 1935 after Satchel Paige ditched the Crawfords. The Pittsburgh Courier said he was so good he made fans forget Satchel and his fastball. Anyone who could overshadow Satchel Paige was really special.
Ball game. Leroy Matlock is on a historic run right now as he slams the door for yet another win. And we're back. Here's the second baseman, Fernandez. That one the other way. And he'll just eat it. That's an infield single. We go to the ninth, and now it's going to be Fernandez. And the first offering a fastball for a strike. Swings through that one out in front that time.
No balls, 2 strikes.
Ground ball right side. Charleston steps on the bag. So just 2 outs left to get for Matlock to keep this winning streak alive. And that one fouled off. Swing at a ball lifted to center field. Fell underneath it. Snags it for the second out. So it's their last chance in this one. Here's the left fielder, Rap Dixon. Pop foul out of play off to the right. 2 down, nobody on. Here at the top of the ninth. Well struck left field. That's going back. Back some more. Out of here. And welcome back to the ballpark. New inning getting started. Now it's the second baseman, Fernandez.
And a first pitch fastball is in for a strike.
And he drops it down the third baseline. And a foul ball.
Ball.
Fights that one away. Still 1-2. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. And Matlock now just 1 out away. Ripped to right. That's a hit. Welcome back to Greenleaf Field. All set for the start of the inning. And now Fernandez. Ground ball left side. On to Oscar. And Matlock now just 1 out away. Perez stands in now and watches strike 1. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Now only 1 out remaining. Dixon, the next to hit, takes ball 1. That one hammered but pulled foul. Matlock is just 1 strike away.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Ball game. A strikeout finishes off the latest win in Leroy Matlock's historic streak.
Leroy Matlock had supreme confidence in his abilities. He seemed unflappable on the mound. Nothing seemed to rattle him. Nothing scared him. And he knew he could get guys out. And he did just that. Hall of Famer Buck Leonard would oftentimes say that Satchel Paige and Leroy Matlock were the toughest pitchers that he ever faced. And when you're in the same conversation with Leroy Satchel Paige, you got to be good. And Leroy Matlock was better than good. He was great.
Bottom of the 6th. And now Sanders. There's the strike. 95 of that one. Leroy Matlock had an incredible reputation among his teammates and opponents. He showed up on a lot of all-time Negro League rosters, including one from Oscar Charleston, who was himself one of the greatest players ever. Smith in the box now. No balls and a strike. Fastball in for a strike. 0-2.
After the career he had in Pittsburgh, it's nice to know that Leroy's legacy lives on there. He's part of an exhibit at PNC Park that honors the Pittsburgh Crawfords and Homestead Grays.
Newman, the batter now, as he swings and misses for strike one. Swing and a miss as he was late that time.
0-2.
Swing and a miss. Curveball in the dirt. Gibson collects, fires to first. Nice job by Matlock to get the better of Buck here. Leonard up to bat next. Lays off for a ball. Swing and a ball lifted left field. And Dixon hauls it in for the out. And there's one down. Here's the shortstop at the plate. Perry. Sharp grounder. That's through for a base hit. And that puts the tying run on base. And now the right fielder, Burns. In the air, out towards left center. And Bell hauls it in for the out. And here is Sutter. That clips the inside corner for a strike. Late swing fouled off. Swings and misses at the breaking ball in the dirt. Gibson down to first. That completes the strikeout, and that'll do it. High pressure. Pressure spot here for Leroy Matlock with the bases full and nobody out. Murray will hit next. Late swing, fouled off. With the go-ahead run at third, here the bottom of the seventh. So up next, Glass. And that one is inside ball one. In the air, pretty deep out to center field. Bell under this one. Squeezes it. The unflappable Leroy Matlock takes care of business and escapes unscathed. Bases loaded, nobody out. Murray now at the plate. Matlock back to work. That one's in there. Strike one. This one's blistered. No doubt about it. Out of here. Grand slam. High pressure spot here for Leroy Matlock with the bases full and nobody out. And now the shortstop, Murray.
No strike.
Next offering is in for a strike. Swings through that.
1-2.
And now 2-2. Got him. Now Matlock only needs one out to escape this bases loaded jam. Glass swings through it for strike one.
Nope. Ball.
At the belt and fires. And a swing and a miss. The unflappable Leroy Matlock takes care of business and escapes unscathed. Mason swings through it for strike one. A little out front there as he swings through it.
0-2.
Swing and a miss. That one in the dirt. They miss a big chance to take the lead here late.
Beat up the block and the gun on my press a little button to open the wings. Ain't no advance in the deal I just signed. I don't need to labor controlling my strings.
An undefeated pitching season is virtually unheard of. The competition is always too stiff. The arduous challenges of moving around the country, the highways and byways, made it difficult not only for pitchers, but for all the players. It makes me wonder if they could have only focused on just their craft. Not having to worry about where they could get something to eat. Not having to worry about if they would find a place that would allow them to sleep. Just how great would they have been?
You couldn't eat in a restaurant. You couldn't travel on the train. Everything is segregated in the hotels, the theaters, the buses. Couldn't even get a white cab. You understand?
I marvel at what Leroy Matlock accomplished with an undefeated 1935 season and a string of consecutive wins that totaled 26. The great Pittsburgh Courier, one of the great African-American weekly papers of that era, coined, rightfully so, Leroy Matlock as the mighty Matlock. And it would be that same Pittsburgh Courier that would rank Leroy Matlock as one of the top pitchers in Negro Leagues baseball history, even above the great Leroy Satchel Paige. There's still hope that Leroy Matlock will one day gain his rightful place in the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Fetty the rest of digits. I found a way to go get it. But Fetty the rest of digits. I found a way to go get it.
Leroy Matlock working in a tight spot here with the Crawfords in danger of surrendering this lead here in the 8th. And here's the first baseman, Burns.
And that's in there for a strike, and quickly 0-2.
I think Leroy Matlock belongs in any discussion of the best lefty pitchers in Negro League history. He could go toe-to-toe with Andy Cooper, Bill Foster, Sam Streeter, or Lefty Tion for sure.
Roll to short, could be 2. 1 at second. Double play as they get out of another jam, and the inning ends. All set to start the 9th in this one. Here's the center fielder, Bradley. That one fouled off. And the 0-1. There's a strike. You know, with Matlock's short but brilliant career, I'm reminded of another great lefty, Sandy Koufax. Both of them had so much respect from their teammates and rivals. And now the catcher comes up to him, Smith. And that's in for a strike.
0-1.
And a big swing and a miss.
No ball, 2 strikes.
Swing and a miss for the strikeout. And they're down to their last out. Sutter stands in here, leaves that one off the inside. Matlock is just 1 strike away. Got him, and that's the ball game. Leroy Matlock punctuates the win with a strikeout.